joined now by one of the most respected voices on warfare, on strategic affairs, John Spencer. He's chair of the Urban Warfare Studies at the War Institute. Mr. Spencer, good evening. Thanks very much for being with me here on India Matters. This is a shape-shifting story. Much has happened. Today is a day when the US Central Command Chief actually called Pakistan a phenomenal partner. India is obviously not very pleased with that comment. There are reports that Field Marshal or General Asim Munir will be heading to the United States and being hosted there at the US Army Day celebrations. All of this in the wake of Pakistani terror against India. How should India look at all of this, John?
Shiv, one, I think India should look at it as, October 7th changed the world, as well as the attack on April 26th in India. President Trump has been in for a few months, but we've already seen giant signs. While geopolitics is complex, and counterterrorism is not. And I don't think that India should go it alone. I think India and America, the two great powers in the world, can fight terrorism. But this double play of Pakistan, I think, is like you said, smell the coffee, wake up to it, as such as this Pakistani terrorist that was trying to do in the allegations a second 9/11, and we have to remember, even I've walked the ground of the 26/11, the Mumbai attacks, and the fact that the United States helped extradite Rana recently, who was a conspirator in the Mumbai attacks. I think the United States can look to India for leadership here, as we saw Prime Minister Modi after Operation Sindoor sending very global messages that enough is enough, no longer of this double game. Even in what India has done for defense reforms, which show dominant against Chinese weapons, there's so much cooperation and advantage to India and the United States working together against terrorism. But we live in a new world, and I think that progress can continue, not a separation of ties, but a strengthening.
Geopolitical complexity, John, is granted. Pragmatism of politics, the US-Pakistan relationship and the complexities there are also granted. But how should India interpret actions that are as explicit as the ones I've just named at this time, especially in this atmosphere? You do know that Indian delegations have been fanning out across the world, including the United States, trying to rally support. There is a sense that Trump is seen as a whimsical leader, but India has always counted on American support when it comes to something as explicit as the war on terror. And there seems to be an erosion of trust thanks to these actions now.
I would say not yet. I mean, of course, India as a great nation will do things in its interest, the same as the United States. And we've seen a massive shift of U.S. foreign policy, counterterrorism, everything. There's a lot of work to be done. And you're right, India should be very cautious of that, but not as in show these, viewing these things in a single act. Continued cooperation in actual counterterrorism, real threats around the globe, whether that's in the United States, as we just saw in India, in Israel, that this cooperation is important. So absolutely call out the things that are not right, but we're also dealing with decades of double game with Pakistan, because Pakistan has been helpful on one hand with things like ISIS-K, while harboring and enabling terrorism on its own ground, from Pakistan ISI to providing a safe haven for things like bin Laden or the other terrorists that were just using the Pakistan federally administrated territories as safe havens during our 20-year campaign in Afghanistan. Call these things out, but I don't think that separation, cooperation in this fight. And Prime Minister Modi showed immense strategic leadership recently, and I've been writing extensively about that.
Yeah. Very true. I don't think a separation is even on the cards or anywhere near on the cards. I don't think any drastic action is also either on the cards, John. But from a diplomatic perspective, what do you think the next steps will be, apart from what is visible? These comments in the House Armed Services Committee, the comments by the US President. Do you believe that on the back channels where the diplomacy is really happening, things are much stronger and the conversation is, is perhaps less sharp than what we're seeing?
Absolutely, I think so. And not to bash media, but media will take these things and make them much more of a very political issue than they truly are, while the back channels, the cooperations, decade-long cooperation, and the possibilities of even defense cooperation, trade, economy, that is in the benefit of both India and the United States, while we also fight this global terrorist safe havens coming out of Pakistan and other areas. I think you're right, behind the scenes, and there's a lot of learning to be done.
Yeah.
This is a new administration. This is a new world. And I'll be in India soon just to continue to study what happened during Operation Sindoor, because I think we, the United States, can learn a lot from what just happened.
John Spencer, it'll be good to meet you when you're here in India. And thanks very much for your time here on India Matters. Good luck. Thanks very much.
Thank you.